about a month leading up to this, I had been moving every 2 or 3 days. New campground, new setup, new location. Pack up, drive, set up again, repeat. And don't get me wrong, every single stop was worth it. But somewhere along the way, I realized I needed something that I hadn't had in a while. A home base. A place to just land for more than a few days and actually catch my breath. Let me start by telling you something I had never done in almost 3 years of full-time RVing. I have stayed in over 100 campgrounds all over the United States. State parks, national park campgrounds, RV resorts, fairgrounds, and harvest hosts. I had slept in parking lots and driveways. And I've always had a reservation. But the West is different. I had never once pulled into a piece of open BLM land, found myself a spot, and just stayed. No reservation, no hookups, no campground host. Just me, Willie, and whatever piece of the American West I had landed on, until Beas Lewis Flat. Before I committed to anything, I did something I would recommend to every first-time boondocker. I scouted it first. The day after I arrived at Fruita Campground in Capitol Reef, I unhitched my Jeep and drove out to Beas Lewis Flat to see it for myself. I had done my research online, but research only tells you so much. And I needed to know, could I actually get my 27-foot Class C in there safely? Was there space enough to turn my 41-foot rig around with the Jeep connected? Would I feel comfortable out there alone as a solo female traveler? Was this actually somewhere I could stay for 9 days? I have footage of that scouting trip, and I'm so glad I do, because what I found completely changed my expectation of what free dispersed camping could look like. Okay, so I'm looking for something for the next few days, and I came down Beas Lewis Road. You can go way far down. I'll put in here how far I came down. So there's a shoe. I'm not sure if that means that someone's here. But it looks like there's plenty of places to park. It's really pretty. I wanted something where I can face north. I think it was facing north. The spot looks really good, and there's others. You can see you can go down there, camp up there. I'm just looking for a place to stay a little bit cooler. I was planning on going down closer to Bryce, but it's supposed to be hot down there. But I think this could work. There's some Airstreams, there's a Brinkley up there, Class A, and if they can fit, then I can fit. It's breezy up here. It's cooler here than it is where I am now in Fruita. I will be coming in on a Sunday afternoon. But look at this view. So there's no site numbers, so it's hard to document, but I will drop a pin here. And I think this, if it's available, at minimum at this area, is what I'm aiming for Sunday. It works, and there's a little dog. That's it. Found it. There were Class A motorhomes out there, large fifth wheels, Airstreams, families, couples, solo travelers like me. This was not a rough, remote, figure-it-out-yourself situation where you drive down a dirt road for miles. This was a community of people who had found one of the most spectacular free camping areas in southern Utah and decided to stay. And the view. I will get to the view. I drove back to Fruita, knowing where I was going to go once my time was up in the National Park campground. If you are new here and you want to follow along on this journey, hit that subscribe button. Willie and I have a lot more road ahead of us. Moving day was straightforward. Before I left the campground, I ran through my checklist, emptied my tanks, filled up with fresh water, and took Willie for a good long walk. Then I hitched up the Jeep and I headed out. 20 minutes. That was all it took to go from the lush green oasis of Fruita Campground to this. Now here is something that surprised me. In those 20 minutes, I climbed from 5,440 feet at Fruita to 6,020 feet at Beas Lewis Flat. 1,280 feet of elevation gain in 4 miles. I honestly could not figure out how that was possible, but both Willie and I felt it immediately. Upset stomachs, brain fog, the whole altitude adjustment experience again. It took us a day or two to fully settle in, but the temperature difference made it completely worth it. Down below in Fruita, daytime highs were pushing up into the low 90s. Up here at Beas Lewis Flat, low 80s. Cooler nights and more comfortable days. For someone planning to stay over a week with no hookups and no air conditioning, that difference matters enormously. Let me tell you about the location, because the location is everything. Beas Lewis Flat is BLM land, Bureau of Land Management, which means it's free to stay on, no reservation required, no time limit beyond the standard 14-day rule. You find your spot, you set up, and it's yours. The roads throughout the flat are actually quite smooth. Smooth dirt, manageable for larger rigs, and the further you drive back, the better they get. I ended up taking Willie for walks along those roads every day. You ready? Good. What do you think? Good exercise for both of us. And it's only 4 minutes from Torrey, Utah. Okay, and then I came down into the town of Torrey, which is such a cute little town. And the Chuck Wagon General Store has a deli with the kind of deli meat that I like. And they make bacon and egg sandwiches in the morning. And this is about literally 4 minutes away from Beas Lewis. So this is going to make me happy. I've been going into all the national parks and doing the national parks, and I do plan on doing Capitol Reef as well. But this is my first small western town that I can explore and take advantage of, and I guess I like people more than I thought because I'm so happy that this is like civilization. There's gas, there's food. It's a cute little town. There's nice people. 4 minutes. Torrey is a charming little town with a general store, restaurants, quirky shops, and a laundromat where I did my first laundry in 3 weeks for $2 a wash and $2 a dry. There's also an Amazon locker 30 minutes away in Loa at the local grocery store, which was a lifesaver for some parts I had been trying to get delivered since January. And most importantly, we're only 20 minutes from Fruita Campground and Capitol Reef National Park, which meant Willie could still visit his deer friends and roll around in the green grass. And I could keep exploring the park whenever the weather cooperated. Best of both worlds. Now I want to talk about the reality of dispersed camping, because this channel is about the honest version of RV life, not just the highlight reel. The dust. Yes, the red dust. Beas Lewis Flat is red dirt desert, completely exposed, and when the wind picks up, and the wind picks up a lot out here, the dust gets into everything. Your floors, your counters, your mouth, your dog. Willie started this day as a white Shih Tzu. By day 3, he was terracotta color. On day 3, I was dealing with a full red flag warning. Gusts up to 45 miles per hour with the possibility of microbursts between 60 and 70 miles an hour. My RV was rocking. Dust was coming through every gap. I tried to take Willie for a walk and lasted about 30 seconds before the wind and the dust turned us right back around. I even have a chin strap on my cowboy hat. It didn't matter. I kept an eye on my Jeep's auxiliary roof lights as my unofficial wind gauge. If they blew off, I know we had hit 65 miles per hour. They stayed on. It barely felt like a victory. And then there were the neighbors. I need to tell you about the neighbors. On day 2, a caravan of 3 large fifth wheels arrived. What followed was approximately 1 hour of the most ambitious, chaotic, and deeply entertaining parking operation I have ever witnessed. There were complaints about everyone else's parking. There was a near miss with a campfire ring. Someone asked me to move my Jeep to access a spot they ultimately didn't even use. And the third ring, bless him, spent the entire time trying to back his fifth wheel as close to the edge of a cliff as physically possible so he could lower his back patio over the ledge in a dust storm at a 30-degree angle. I watched all of this through my dirty windows. Willie watched from inside his blanket fort with his stuffed duck. It was better than anything on Netflix. I will say this. If you are considering dispersed camping for the first time, know that it is not always the quiet, solitary experience people imagine. It is a community, and like any community, it comes with a full range of personalities. If this is the kind of honest, unfiltered RV content you are looking for, we would love to have you along for the ride. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Despite all of that, or maybe because all of that, I fell completely in love with this place. The mornings were quiet and still. The light on those cliffs changed every hour, with the sunlight, with the dust level, with the weather moving through. I watched it snow lightly on my last day there, just enough to settle the dust and leave everything clean and quiet. I caught up on laundry. I did an Amazon locker pickup in Loa. I sent out postcards I'd been carrying for weeks. I worked on videos. I walked Willie on smooth dirt roads in the early morning before anyone else was even up. I just lived slowly, deliberately, without rushing anywhere, and that is something I did not fully expect from this experience. I came for the view and free camping, and I stayed because it turned out I really needed to slow down. 9 days at Beas Lewis Flat. My first free dispersed camping experience, and I can already tell it will not be my last. If you are considering trying dispersed camping for the first time, scout it first if you can, the way I did. That way you can get your rig in and out safely. Have your tanks empty and your water topped off before you arrive. Know where the nearest town is, and then just go. The view alone is probably worth it. Next up, Bryce Canyon National Park, a completely different kind of spectacular. I'm Nancy, this is Making Our Own Lane, and I will see you next week.